You have used this word perhaps many times. What goes around comes around. That is karma. Everything happens for a reason. That is karma. The understanding that someone who caused harm eventually face difficulty of their own, that too karma. And none of this is entirely wrong, but all of it is standing at the shore of something whose depth has barely been touched. Because what the deeper teachings were pointing at when they used this word was something far more intimate, far more immediate, far more personally relevant than cosmic accounting. Karma is not primarily about the universe and what it does to you. It is about what you do to yourself in every moment through the momentum of your own consciousness. Let us start at the beginning. The Sanskrit root of karma is the verb kri, meaning simply to do, to act, to make. And at its most basic, karma means action, and every action has a consequence. This is not mysticism, this is physics, this is the most ordinary observation about the nature of cause and effect. Every thought you think leaves a trace. Every emotion you repeatedly feel carves a channel in the nervous system. Every intention, every pattern of attention, every story you tell about who you are and what the world is, all of it, conditioning the mind, shaping the lens through which the next moment will be experienced. The neuroscience is precise. Neurons that fire together wire together. Every time you return to the same thought, the same emotional pattern, the same identity, the brain reinforces that pathway. It becomes easier to think that thought again, easier to feel that emotion again, easier to be that version of yourself again. This is karma operating at the most immediate level possible. Not in some future lifetime, not in some cosmic ledger, but in the next thought, the next breath, the next moment of experience arising right now. As is your present, so is your future. And here is where the teaching deepens into something most people never reach. The greatest karmic force in any human life is not what happens to you, it is the identity you repeatedly strengthen through unconscious living. The story of who you are, the accumulated self, its wounds, its conclusions, its deeply held beliefs about what is possible, what is deserved, what love looks like, what safety requires. Every morning you wake up, and before a single thing has happened, before the day has offered a single new possibility, the conditioned mind has already reconstructed the same self that went to sleep the night before. The same fears, the same desires, the same fundamental story about who you are in relation to the world. And from that reconstructed self, you move through the day, perceiving, interpreting, responding through the lens of everything you have repeatedly chosen to reinforce. This is the momentum of karma. The personality keeps creating the personal reality and experiences that reality as though it arrived from somewhere outside, as though it were simply the way things are, as though it were fate. Think of a cinema screen. A film is playing. Characters love and lose. They make choices with consequences. They carry the weight of what they have done into every scene that follows. The hero suffers. The villain accumulates. Every action ripples forward into the next moment of the story. This is karma playing out exactly as the teaching describes. And now, notice the screen. The screen holds all of it, every shadow, every burst of light, every scene of violence, and every scene of tenderness. And when the film finally ends, when the last image fades and the house lights rise, the screen is unmarked, completely unstained, unchanged by everything it held for the entire duration of the film. The characters accumulated karma. The screen accumulated nothing. Awareness is the screen, and every thought, every emotion, every karmic impression that has ever moved through you has been playing out on a surface that was never once altered by the story it was showing. This is the most radical and least understood dimensions of this teaching. From a non-dual perspective, from the perspective of awareness itself, karma has no ultimate reality. Awareness does not accumulate karma. It cannot. Because karma requires an identity, a separate self that performs actions, experiences, consequences, carries impressions forward into the next moment. Awareness is not a separate self. Awareness is the open field in which the separate self appears and disappears. The way clouds appear and disappear in the sky. The sky does not accumulate the weather. It simply remains open, unchanged, holding everything that moves through it without being altered by any of it. Awareness is like this. Every thought that has ever risen, every emotion, every karmic impression, every moment of identification has appeared in awareness, dissolved in awareness, without touching what awareness actually is. The karma is real. The one who accumulated it is a construction, a deeply convincing, deeply felt, deeply human construction, but a construction nonetheless. Now, this does not mean that karma is dismissed. It does not mean that actions have no consequences, that responsibility dissolves, that how we live does not matter. It means something far more precise. As long as there is identification with the mind and body, as long as the constructed identity is taken to be what you fundamentally are, karma continues. The moment The momentum carries, the patterns reinforce themselves. The self keeps recreating the conditions for its own continuation. And the moment that identification loosens, the moment awareness begins to recognize itself as the sky rather than the weather, the momentum slows. The past is not erased, but the one who was carrying it has been seen through. There is no one left to carry it forward. And something the ancient teachers called grace begins to move in the space that opens. Every time you observe a thought rather than become it, every time you notice the story the mind is telling without immediately taking it to be true, a different possibility begins to emerge. A new pathway forms. The old momentum finds less grip. And life, which had been feeling like the inevitable consequence of everything that came before, begins to feel like something that can genuinely change and begin again. The candle does not accumulate the darkness, it dissolves. The mirror does not carry the faces it has held. The sky has never once kept a single cloud it did not need. And awareness, however long the storm, however heavy the weather, has never once been stained by anything that passed through it.